This is Semifinal Fantasy. It's 13 pages. It's a roll and write, dungeon crawling management game. Let's get into it. Are you ready for some dungeon crawling? It's time for Semifinal Fantasy, where you, the average townsfolk, get to go down to your local tavern, pick your favorite adventurers, place bets on which party will survive the nasty bracket dungeon. From the comfort of your wooden bar stool, you'll try to convert your coins into a big haul. So let's get things rolling. Your goal is to become the king of the Semifinal Fantasy League by scoring the most points after 3 rounds of competition. Your components are 10 sheets of paper. So not including these 3 pages of rules, we have 10 sheets of paper. Consisting of 4 party sheets, each consisting of 2 parties, and that's these. You have Party A and Party B, Party C and Party D. They're all a little different, you'll see. Party E and Party F, and Party G and Party H. You also have a bracket map sheet, which is this. These are parties that'll go against each other, eventually go into our final round and declare a winning party, which is different than a winning player, but we'll get into all that as well. We also have 1 alternate character sheet. These are all alternates for when there are injuries. We have 4 player tableau sheets consisting of, each consists of 2. So here's a player tableau, cut it in half. It's 2 players there, and it has enough for up to 8 players. Players also need to provide 1 or 2 sets of polyhedral dice. 2 is nice because players get to grab their own dice, and it's just a little more exciting having some possession of your own dice. And something for each player to write with. Those are components. Time to set up. First thing we're going to do is take the 4 party sheets and cut them in half. You're going to listen to me cut some paper. I'm going to do them one at a time because I only have 1 color copy of this. So, just going to cut them in half. Right down that dash line. If you have one of these nice paper cutters, it makes it super easy. We're going to randomize these 8 parties and make 4 groups of 2. It's the first 4 round matchups. You can do this off camera. But you'll see it in a second. Next up, we are going to cut the alternate characters out. These ones you actually cut out individually. Just a few more cuts. Just going to place these off to the side. Place our bracket map in the center of the table. There's our bracket map. Put the alternate characters next to it. We have to cut out our player tableaus. All in one nice shot. We're going to put one of these in front of each player. So when setting up for an 8-player game, our table is going to look like this. That's what our table looks like for a full 8-player game. On your little player tableau, you're going to write your name. And you're going to give yourself a unique identifying icon inside this hexagon. And I'm going to make it a big old X. You can make it a smiley, a moon, whatever you want, but that icon is eventually going to end up on different characters so you know which ones are yours as opposed to other players. You're also going to get a few coins to start out with. You start out with 2 speed. So I usually just put little dots inside of them. 2 power. And 2 intelligence. When you use those coins later, you're going to just cross them out. If you don't cross them out, they become in-game points. We'll talk about that later. Players roll a die. Player with the highest goes first. And we're ready to start. There's 8 parties of adventurers. Which are these. From across all the lands, all trying to survive the dungeon. In the end, only one party will survive. You want to choose your adventurers wisely, as if they succeed, you're going to get paid. Maybe you'll go for the topmost adventurer, so you can become a party leader, which we'll talk about later. Maybe you'll go for an adventurer with high stats, right there, 7, to try to get the most coins out of them. Maybe even someone who's in the middle range, one of these 2, so they're safe from injury. So many choices, and it's time to make your first pick, which is going to lead us to the draft. It's time to talk about the draft. In turn order, players are going to draft adventurers using these steps. Choose a character that hasn't been chosen, which is determined by they're unnamed and they don't have a symbol in their hexagon. Draw your icon on the hex. So draw my X on the hex. For identification, I'm going to name the character on the party sheet, which is right here. Then I'm going to write the name and the party letter on my player tableau. So there's a section here for the party. It says group, but it should be party. Party E, and that way I can identify that this guy that I grabbed, his name is here, it corresponds with that, he's in this party, and I know where to find them. And when I'm looking at the parties, I know that it has my icon there. So player count varies depending on the player count. In a 2-player game, we all get 8 characters, which you can see right here. In a 3 or 4-player game, you still get 8 characters. But in a 5-player game, you only get 7. 6-player game, you only get 6. 7-player game, you get 5. And in an 8-player game, everybody gets 4 characters. Anyone who's unclaimed is considered to be an NPC. They're still going to contribute to the parties, but they're not going to be controlled by anybody. And the player that controls the topmost character in a party is the party leader. What the party leader means is they get to roll the dice, they get to choose which dice they're rolling. They also get to name the party. So there's some advantages to being the party leader as well. Once all characters are drafted, the party leader names the group's location and the title. So example is the Marshland Meat Cleavers. And that's just about it. So let's give an example of that. So let's say I'm first. And I like this one right here with his little long mutton chops and his fisherman cap. So we're gonna call him Mutton Star. The reason for picking him could simply be that you like his hat and his mutton chops, but we can talk about this right now. These two are going to go into a set of trials. Trials are die rolls based on speed, power, or intelligence, or a combination of multiple of those. Right now we have an intelligence of 14, which means 3 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4. That's how we get to our number. It's the total of all intelligence numbers here equals that number. That 14 means if we're going into an intelligence challenge, which we could be, we're going to roll dice that add up to a maximum of 14. So a 20-sided die can roll 20, that's too high. But for example, the 10-sided die is under 14, and a 4-sided die. So the two of them combined add up to our maximum intelligence, and we'll get to roll them when it comes time for an intelligence challenge. But what's interesting about that is if we have an intelligence challenge, we're going to roll our 14. And if we win that challenge, 14 versus 12, and we get a little better die roll, and say we win that one, everybody gets one intelligence coin, which is marked on your sheet. Intelligence right there. But the character that contributed the most, which would be this 6 right here, is pretty huge. Mutton Star contributed the most. Mutton Star gets an extra coin for contributing the most to that trial. So I'm taking Mutton Star, put my name, I put my X, and then down here I'm going to write Mutton Star. From which party? Party E. It's now on my group of characters. So we're going to keep doing this. And we have all 8 groups. You can only see 4 here, but there are 4 more over there. This is across all 8 groups of parties. You're going to get your characters. So let's say I'm going to take one over here. And that one, I'm going to call that one Ralph Mouth. It has a massive speed, a high speed, and this party here has an 18 speed compared to 9s, compared to 14 over here. That's a really high number to start out with. So I'm taking Ralph Mouth as mine. There's my little X. I'm just going to put it on here, party F. Ralph Mouth. And keep doing this. In turn order, we're going to go around the table. People are going to take theirs, they're going to name them, they're going to transfer them on their sheet, and eventually we're going to have all of our parties down. It's nice to have all of our characters down. It's nice to have characters in different parties. That way, in case a party gets wiped out, you don't lose all your characters. Sometimes it's nice to have a couple in the same one if you have reasons for it. But they're all going to get taken by the end of the game, except for in some of the odd player counts. But you just want to build your all-star dungeon crawling team right now. So I'm going to just get a couple more. I don't have a team leader. I'm not the highest, so maybe I'll go for a team leader. You can also go for a team leader that's good at scoring things. This is a decent team leader because the intelligence is tied for the rest of the group. But this is a great team leader with that 7 speed. So I'm going to go for this gnome thief right here. And I'm going to name it Butterfingers. Butterfingers on here. Which is from party A. And let's get one more. Let's go over here to this one. And looking at these bottom ones are really good. They're solid ground. So I'm gonna go here. And this one I'm gonna call, this looks like Ralph Mouth's human friend. So I'm gonna call it Ralphie Mouthy. This is why I don't do this on camera. Because now I got Ralph Mouth and Ralphie Mouthy. Which will get very confusing as we go. It's from group C. I gotta add my little thing. So as I'm doing this, other players are taking their own as well. And these are gonna start to fill up. My group starts to kind of take shape. And I'm ready to start the first set of trials. One of the things I missed was that I have a team leader over here, a party leader with Butterfingers. So Butterfingers gets to name this the location that this group of adventurers came from, as well as the name of their group. So with Butterfingers at the top, their location will be Candyland, and their name is going to be the Tricksters. So this group of adventurers, the Candyland Tricksters, is hopefully going to make it through to the end, because I will get some money off of that. And that's the start. Eventually all these are going to be covered up, taken and written out. First part of round one is going to be the dungeon crawl setup, where we take our group that's going against each other, and we're going to add them to the sheet. All 8 groups are going to end up in this trial 1 column. So this one is the meat cleavers versus the space crawlers. And we're going to determine the 3 types of trials that they're going to encounter by rolling 3d6. First is a 6, which is a master maze, which is an intelligence trial. We get intelligence of 9 versus intelligence of 12, so nothing too smart there. We got a 4, which is a power trial. So I'm just going to write these in here. 6, 4, power, it's a 9 versus 11. It's about the same, nothing too powerful. And then another 4. So we're going to do 2 power trials and 1 intelligence. The thing about this is we were banking on some speed. There's no speed trial this turn. So this group with their massive speed is kind of stuck without it for a round. You're going to do the same thing for all of the other matchups. So for example, we have the Easter Bunnies versus the Tricksters. I'm going to put that here. We're going to roll 3d6, a 4, which is power, 6, which is intelligence, and a 4. This is the exact same roll, but just different order. Very interesting. So this group, power 10 to 6, it's very interesting, and then 14 to 16 it's pretty close. So they're a pretty even match. So that's the first part. We set up our dungeon crawl. You're going to do that 4 times for the first round. So now we can boost or bet. boosting or betting is interesting. Because after this, we're going to decide who we're kind of playing this round, who we expect is going to do well, and out of our 8 characters, which we don't have 8 right now, in the first round, we're only going to be able to play 4 of them. So I'm going to be able to play all of them. But in the next round, in the second round, you can only play 3, and in the third round, you can only play 2. And for everyone that you lose, you get to place more bets for each person that you've lost. So looking at this, we have the meat clavers versus the space crawlers, the Easter bites versus tricksters. I'm playing all of them, so basically I'm just going to write over here. Sorry, no. Take a step back. We're going to boost or bet. Boosting or betting, boosting, for example, is you boost a character by crossing out any number of coins on my sheet and then writing them in the bet section. Boosting a character is crossing out any number of a single coin type and adding them to their character sheet. So let's say I have, on this one, I have Ralph Mouth. Ralph is already the highest in speed, so I want to be the highest in things. He's second for intelligence, tied with the other 3, so I'm going to boost him up some intelligence so I can cross out as many intelligence as I would like. I'm going to lose those coins over the course of the game, but I'm boosting this one to help me get more coins all throughout the game. And it does also help the team. So, Ralph Mouth with a 3 intelligence is getting boosted up to a 5 intelligence. Because I gave him 2 more. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to boost or bet. So that's what a boost is. A bet is I'm going to take any number of remaining coins. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4. I'm going to place a bet. And I put in how many I'm contributing. So I have 2 speed, 2 power. I'm going to bet all those on, looking at these groups, I'm going to bet on this underdog over here, the meat cleavers, which is group F. So if they win and they proceed to the next round, I'm going to get, I put in 4 or 2, I'm going to end up with 4. So I'm going to get what I paid back plus double that. So it's a nice way to get some extra coins by betting. So we boost, we bet, and then we're going to choose our adventures. So looking at the stats, this team is pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the 4 that are going through. Imagining I have 8, it's a hard choice to figure out which 4 I'm going to put in, but I don't have 4. I don't have 8, so I'm just moving all 4 over. Just going to write them out. But normally, this is your biggest choice in the game is who am I going to bank on this round, and who am I going to let sit back in on the bench over here. Okay, so all the characters there. They're all in. Now, the trials. The party leader, this is where they have to do a little bit of work. The player that has the party leader position has to add up everything that was added to it and update our stats down here. So right now it says speed of 18, power 9, power intelligence 9. I just added 2 to our intelligence. So our intelligence for going into round 1 is actually 11. And imagining some other people boosted, for example, they wanted to throw power up by 2 just to help, by 2, it should be a 5, just to help, get us better for later rounds. So our power is actually an 11. If we could have gotten that up to a 6 here, would have put our power up to a 12, which enables us additional dice. So we didn't get that far. We just got an 11. This was done by the smiley character. But the party leader has to add all those up. So in general, they're the same. 12, 10, 14. This one's 18, 11, 11. This one is still 14, 6, 16. And this one's still 13, 11, 12. Because they weren't boosted up. So starting with the first matchup, which let's say is these two. Players are going to compete the 3 trials, as we discussed. This process will repeat for each additional pair of competing parties. So that group of 2, that group of 2, that group of 2. They're all going to repeat this entire process here. Parties are going to choose a combination of different polyhedral dice that have a value equal to or less than the stat. So we're looking at 6, which is intelligence. So we got 9 versus 12. So out of a 9, what can I choose? I can't even choose a 6 and a 4. So I'm just going to go with the D8. It's intelligence challenge. They have 12. They could go with the D12, just the straight up 12. Or they can mix things up and go with like an 8 and the 4. You can't do double of the same die. Let's go with the 8 and the 4. We'll see how this all works out. So party leaders are going to roll dice for each. So neither are me, but I'm the only one here, so I'm going to roll. The party with the highest combined die roll is the winner. So I'm rolling my 8 for the first challenge, which is intelligence. We got a 4, that's weak. And over here, we have 8. So they blew us out of the park. It's an intelligence challenge. So everybody on this team gets to fill out an intelligence token on their player tableau. So I am playing Ralphie Mouthy here, so I get 1 intelligence. Everybody else also gets 1. And whoever contributed the most gets another 1. So here, for intelligence, it's 4, 4, 1, 3. So it's both Luell and Ralphie Mouthy getting extra intelligence token. Or a coin. So that's our first roll. Now we go to our second roll, which is power. Power is 11 versus 11. So to make it easy, let's go with 2 10s. So there we got 7, and there we got an 8. So the space crawlers took this one again, but now it's power. So first thing is everyone who's been played, which I played Ralphie Mouthy, gets a power token. I forgot to pay for 2 speed, 2 power. I forgot to cross those out earlier. Everybody gets a power token. And then whoever contributed the most to power, which was not Ralphie Mouthy, was 0. This one was 7. The goat kid would add another 1 to his. Then we go one more round. We're back to intelligence. So let's just say these ones go with the 12. And these ones are at 11, so they're going to go with the 6 and the 4. Nah, we're going to go with a 10. I'll tell you why in a little bit. 4, 5. All right, so these meat cleavers have not won a single round this game, but space crawlers are now getting another intelligence, which Ralphie Mouthy is tied for the top, so he would get another one as well. So he gets one for winning, gets one for being tied at the top. That's one set of matchups. And what I forgot to do was circle who won each one of these. So Space Crawlers won, the Space Crawlers won, the Space Crawlers won. They won all three. And what this means is the meat cleavers are out of the game. So anything that we added to them and changed them and all of our hopes and dreams are crushed, they're out of the game. If you had somebody on this group when they were knocked out of the game, like I have Ralph Mouth, I'm going to mark them as lost. As you lose characters, you can place more bets later and things like that. So we do all this for all 4 matchups. Then we're going to do it again for 2 matchups. So the winner of this group was the Space Crawlers, and they're going to go down here. And they're going to fight. They're going to kind of duel against and go into the dungeon against the winner of the Easter Bunnies versus the Tricksters. Let's just say it was a win for the Bunnies, a win for the Tricksters, and the Tricksters took the second win. Then they're going to go here. So it's the Space Crawlers versus the Tricksters. Same thing's going to happen down here. They're going to go against here. And then the winner of these are going to go together. And the winner of the whole thing marks themselves right here on the 20. Okay, we didn't talk about injuries. And injuries are interesting. If you grabbed one of these as a character, when any group rolls a 1 on any die roll, the lowest contributing character to that type would be replaced. They're out of the game. Sometimes it's temporarily, sometimes it's for the entirety of it. So let's just say this was an intelligence challenge. We have 4, 4, 1, 3. Goat Kid is out, and in comes this new Elf Ranger as an alternate. It's hopefully going to rake up some cash. So that's how that's going to work. And these are going to move around quite a bit, and they move in alphabetical order A, B, C, D. So if A is placed right here, for example, and B, C, and D are out, and a new person gets injured, A is going to move to the new injury. This can change team leads, it can change party leaders, I mean, it can change a lot of things. But that's them. And the next thing that comes with them, and it's basically going to come in the version of an updated sheet instead of this little add-on here in black and white. But it's additional changes in the round. So for example, we just had speed of 13 here. What's going to happen is when this alternate comes in, 5, 4 changes to a 4, 0, 5, things are going to change. And the alternate might have been boosted up and things like that. So that's going to change things considerably. So you write whatever phase of the round you're in. If you were the first, the first trial, or if you're in the second or the third, you can write it in here. And it's going to make it a little easier. These are going to be on all the sheets going forward. That's injuries, elimination. Basically, if your group of adventurers gets beaten, you're just limited. You flip it over, it's out of the game. End of round. Bets pay out for the winning parties. So, placed a bet here on Group F. Group F was the one that actually got flipped over. So I don't actually win anything for my bet. But if I had, I would have gotten 4 speed and 4 power and loaded up my sheet pretty early on. So the end of the game, what's going to happen is we're going to 2 versus 2, or 1 versus 1, 1 versus 1. The winners go against each other. The winners of all these go against each other, and one of the groups is going to win. If that's yours, you have somebody on there that made it to the end, or you're the party leader for that group, it's great. Otherwise, you're still sitting here betting on who's going to win, and maybe you're betting on them. But the game is going to end after this final matchup, and we're going to look at are player sheets for score. Players get 5 points for a set of all 3 token types. So a set of speed, power, and intelligence is going to get you 5 points. Every single one of these tokens that is not in a set, so those sets being the only sets is the 5-point set, any that are not in a set are worth a single point each. So right now I have no speed, 1 power, 4 intelligence. So number of sets, 0. 5 points each is 0. Number that are not in sets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's 1 point each, so that's 5. So I would end this game with 5 points if we were to end it right there very prematurely. There's a lot of other fake people at this table that need to play. So that's it. At the end of the game, player with the most points wins. And that's Semifinal Fantasy.